What's up, everybody? Long time no see, as far as this channel goes, anyway. Hope everyone is doing great out there. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have not joined me before, my name is Jake Berlind. I dubbed myself the Whiskey Jedi. It's the name of the podcast here. We do some really fun things. And I haven't done a show in a little bit. It's been a little while. A lot of things have been happening on my end. Life's been a little crazy over the last couple months. Not just when it comes to Apocalypse movies or a certain point of view, but in real life. You know, I got married. I went on a honeymoon. I got a new job. A lot has been going on recently in my life. And unfortunately, that came at the expense of this podcast. But I'm very, very excited to get back into the swing of things and start talking with you all and doing more whiskey reviews, talking more Star Wars topics, kind of editorials, if you will, things that I really want to get back to, which is kind of the point of tonight's show. Obviously, you see the thumbnail. It has Andor on it, but it also has the Ahsoka Tano figure from the Clone Wars, the Sideshow Collectible, which is right here. I'm going to put it together kind of while we're hanging out for the evening. I have had this for a very long time, and I have not opened it yet. It is still in its box. The wrapping is off, but I have actually not opened it yet. But I also kind of, while I'm doing that, I wanted to talk about like the future of the channel, kind of what I want from this show and the schedule, etc. Now that, life has slowed down a little bit. The last year, Gabby and I had obviously been planning a wedding, and it took over a lot of our time. So I wasn't able to do this show as much as I wanted to. And not that I'm ever going to do this show over something like Apocalypse or POV, but I definitely want to do more of it. I like sitting here and talking with you all, whether it's a Q&A episode with some questions or talking about Andor, having a guest on like my buddy Sean Sullivan, or, people like I've had in the past, Dom, who has come on multiple times. But I love having this chance to do what I want. It's not based around movies like Apocalypse or Schmodown like POV has been for so long. I have the freedom to do what I want and how I want to do it, which is why I incorporate whiskey, because I love whiskey. I love having whiskey. I love reviewing whiskey. I have a lot of bottles. I try a lot of different whiskeys. And even if it isn't for you, it seems like you guys are interested in hearing me talk about it a little bit. So I'm excited to do so. And I'm excited to get back in the saddle and get back into doing this show on a regular basis, because I think it could be something really fun and just kind of a nice little refresher. He's over here licking his paws in the back of my ear. It's annoying as all hell. Dude, what are you doing? Anyway, to everyone watching, thank you guys so much for joining me. Appreciate it. Thank you to everyone in the chat. I see John, see Andy. Thank you guys. A trolling of Jake encore. Yes. Appreciate it. Andy, as always, the trolling never stops, and I love when you do it, to an extent. John, have you tried High West whiskey? Excuse me. Just got a bottle of Campfire. I have not tried the Campfire, if that is the name of that specific whiskey, but I have had High West's Rye, which I believe I might have reviewed on here. Let me look real quick. I think Kylo, you're laying in the worst spot, my dude. The absolute worst spot. Let's see. I'm pretty sure. Yep, right there. It was almost a year ago. I did the High West Rendezvous Rye Whiskey on an episode that was titled "What I've Been Watching," and it was during the time when I did a Daredevil rewatch. I had been watching Wheel of Time, and so I talked about a lot of things that I had been watching currently. And I believe it was a long list of things while I get Kylo from out underneath my desk. A 90-pound German Shepherd does not fit under there. But yeah, so I have tried the Rye. I have not tried Campfire. So I will put it on the list and try to get to it as quick as I can. Whiskey's expensive, and so, or at least some of it is. And I have too many bottles as it is, especially when it comes to getting gifts from a wedding. There's a lot of whiskey in this household right now, which is why I'm trying to get back into this, because I want to review and get rid of all this whiskey. So tonight, I'm doing a bottle that my parents gifted me a couple months ago. They did where did they go? They did a road trip a few months back. I believe it was for their anniversary. They got in an RV from California and drove all the way to Texas. They went through Arizona, New Mexico, etc. And on the way, they picked me up 2 bottles of whiskey. One of them I have not done yet. It's I forget the name of it, but it's sitting in the cabinet now that I'm definitely going to get to because it's more unique than I've had on my shelf in a while. But they also got me this one. It is Yellowstone Kentucky Straight Bourbon. Not I, and I don't. I'm not. This is absolutely no disrespect to this distillery, but Yellowstone is a very kind of like basic brand that you see in a lot of places. It's not something that you can find in somewhere specific or special. I have not tried this yet. The reason why you see it, the seal broke. Sean, Jill, Alex, and Molly during the wedding, they stayed at La Casa, the Casa Berlin, if you will. And I gave Sean full access to breaking seals and opening bottles while he was here. And he opened this and tried this. So I have actually not tried this yet. Sean has. He had a glass. He gave me a little bit of review, but didn't reveal too much because he didn't want to spoil it for me. So I'm going to pour a glass for myself, get into it a little bit. Old school style, kind of talking about the distillery, where it came from, etc. While I'm kind of just hanging out. And like I said, I'm gonna break into the Ahsoka figure here in just a little bit. It won't take me too long to put it together, being that I've put together a couple before, and I know that they're not too long. It's just cool to look at them with all the extra accessories. Brandy, hello, Brandy. Thank you so much for hanging out and joining, popping in, with your valuable time. I know that you are incredibly busy, but whenever whiskey calls, you come running, and I love it. So thank you. Yeah, if you guys got questions for me about anything Star Wars related, just fire them at me. Hang out. We'll talk. But I definitely want to get into the future of the channel, kind of what I want to see from it here in just a little bit. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and talk about Yellowstone just real quick. So Yellowstone comes from a distillery called Limestone Branch. It is in Kentucky. And this is what's on the back of the bottle personally. So this is what's on the back of the bottle, not personally, but on the back of the bottle. It says in 2010, so it's more recent, not something that's crazy new. My family and I founded Limestone Branch Distillery with the intention of crafting only the finest whiskey and the dream of restoring the Yellowstone brand to its former glory. In the spring of 2015, over a century after our great-grandfather M.C. Beam sold his distillery in Yellowstone, that dream came true. To celebrate this family reunion of sorts, we bring you Yellowstone Select Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. That's pretty cool. It has a little bit of a history to it. It seems like the distillery was at once very well known, and then it kind of disappeared a little bit, and then the family brought it back a number of years later. Let me go ahead and pull up the website as well. It says here, a delicate fusion of flavors from seventh generation distillers. This straight bourbon features a hand-picked blend of 4- and 7-year-old bourbons for an exclusive old-fashioned whiskey that honors its deep family origins. And then it has some tasting notes that I'm gonna get to see if it actually lives up to those tasting notes. It has some more information here. That's really cool because I've always wanted to go to Yellowstone. I've never actually had the chance to go. So to know that it kind of connects back to that is really cool. And then obviously they have the show right now, Yellowstone, which I watch and is extremely popular. So that is also very cool. I've wanted to try this for a little while. Sean gave me some notes. I'm not going to reveal it just yet. I'm going to do it after I taste it. And so it's a 93 proof, and officially it's from Lebanon, Kentucky. Lebanon? Don't know if I'm saying that right, but Lebanon, Kentucky. So let's go and see what this is all about. Taste it, and then get into the Ahsoka figure I have because I've been waiting months to open this thing back up. Ooh, that is not what I was expecting. That is not what I was expecting at all. Oh, yeah. So, the nose and the finish are on point, but also not on point. It definitely has a little bit of a kick to it. So the nose here for the tasting notes, for anybody that is a major whiskey lover, on their website, it says rye spice with soft leather cherries. The palate is smoked caramel, And yes, I say caramel, not caramel. And the finish is a smoky oak and brown sugar. Now, I don't taste any brown sugar, but I 100% get the smoked oak. I 100% get the smoked oak, and I definitely get the spice, but I don't get any cherries. I do get a little caramel, though. I will be honest. There is a little caramel in there for sure. So I'm kind of in a mixed bag on it. I'm kind of in a little bit of a mixed bag. And Andy, to answer your question, I 100% can taste history. This tastes, as the bottle says, since 1872, this tastes like 1872. Straight up. Just saying. Like I know what 1872 tastes like. And in no shape or form is it bad. It has a bigger kick than I was expecting. I was not expecting that big of a kick. It kind of caught me off guard. Now that I know what it tastes like, I can kind of dive into it a little bit more. So I'll be drinking it throughout the show, and I'll give an official final kind of touch on it at the end. But yeah, I was not expecting that. I honestly, and this isn't a bad thing. This is not a bad thing at all, but there's really no other way to describe it. I was expecting it to kind of be your average bourbon, right? It has that average bourbon taste, but just a little bit of a twist, being that every distillery kind of has their own little kick to it. So it's a good surprise knowing that it's not like that. I don't want my rack at home to be full of just the average bourbons. I want all of them to taste a little differently. And if Brandy, thank you. If Brandy is saying that Yellowstone is good for cocktails, I'm 100% going to try this with a cocktail now. This is the first time I've had it. You know, I don't know if Sean tasted it straight up or if he made a drink with it. But next time I make an old fashioned or anything that has to do with whiskey, I'll definitely try it with Yellowstone. Because it has, for a bourbon, it definitely has a little bit more of a rye flavor than it does a bourbon flavor. That's kind of a better way to explain it, which is, again, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. It has a little bit of a kick, which gives it a unique taste. So, all right, I want to get into this Ahsoka figure. And if you guys want, you guys can send in some questions for me. They can be Star Wars. They can be non-Star Wars. They can be whiskey. They can be anything. I'm happy to answer, but I'm going to talk my way through this figure and also kind of talk about how I want to approach this channel going forward, just to kind of start things off. So obviously I've had a little bit of a break from both this show and Gabby and I's reactions, which if you've watched those, I really appreciate it. They've been a lot of fun. I love doing them with her. They take time, but I love doing them with her. It's a very enjoyable process for me to watch them back with someone who has never experienced them before. And I will say that I'm going to try to kind of like zigzag our way through a couple different things. I have found as of recently that sticking to like one thing is very difficult because it can be a little overwhelming. So I think what I'm going to do going forward with reactions is like, so we're obviously watching the prequels right now for Star Wars, which we have not gotten to episode 2 or 3 yet. We got really busy. But I think what I want to do is I want to do a Marvel movie and a prequel, a Marvel movie and a prequel, a Marvel movie and a movie that I love that she's never seen, a Marvel movie and a movie that I love that she's never seen. Kind of like split it a little bit. So it's not just Marvel movie after Marvel movie after Marvel movie. Because that can be a lot. It can be a lot. The reactions are definitely going to be a big part of this. We love doing them. And if you guys are interested and want them, you know, if people watch them, then we're going to keep doing them. They take time, which is the hard thing. But I know that she has enjoyed doing them so far, and I definitely enjoyed doing them so far. So I opened the box up on this cool, I guess you can kind of call it a poster. It covers everything. This is pretty badass, I got to be honest. This is a really, really cool picture of just the figure alone. What they do with these figures is pretty incredible. The process and production that they put behind them to show them off is pretty fantastic. So I believe I have the other boxes down here of my Captain Marvel, Mando, and IG-88. I think the ones in there are also really cool. So, Andy, will there be any movies that she loves that you haven't seen? Yes, we've talked about that. I think there's very few movies that we could actually do that she has seen that I've never seen. But we have talked about that. I think TV shows have come up a lot more because she watches a lot of like reality TV. But Yes, we have definitely talked about that. Turning the tables a little bit, allowing it to kind of be flipped, which I think is only fair. We just have to figure out which movies those are. Because I have seen a lot of movies, and it's not that she hasn't, but she's only seen specific movies. So we have to find out which ones I have seen and which ones I haven't. But we have definitely talked about that. So, and if you guys have any recommendations on movies, put them in the chat that you'd love to see a reaction of her watching, and I'll ask her if she's seen them. More than likely, she hasn't seen them. I'll say that. More than likely, she has not seen them. She's seen a lot of movies, but she grew up in a household that was heavy on the Disney VHS tapes and stuff like that. You know, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen and all that type of stuff. So she hadn't seen a lot of the mainstream stuff. So I'll ask about Teen Witch. I don't know if I've ever seen Teen Witch, if I'm being honest. So if I haven't seen it, then maybe it's definitely something that we do. If people want it, then we'll definitely do it. Because honestly, it's a lot of fun to do it. It really is. It just takes time. We got to find a time to do it together on a weekly basis and the editing process and everything. But they are a lot of fun to do. All right. I open this up. And here's some extra pieces for the Ahsoka. Some extra hand pieces down here to do the different Jedi stances, I guess you could say. You can see those. But this is the cool part. Look at all the different versions of lightsabers. So you have the two regulars that would just be sitting there. But then you have an additional piece that you can add on that's like her swinging it. And then this big one of her swinging it right there as well. So you can kind of change the look of the sabers, which is really cool. The detail on the Clone Wars sabers is really cool. And they're even beaten and battered a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see it, but they're kind of beat up a little bit, spotted. Very, very cool detail there. So there's some extra pieces. They have some extra pieces. Let me pull this out real quick. I don't want to break her. They're very sensitive. Here we go. Ooh, these are cool. Hold on a second. I got to pull these out right away. I think everyone would appreciate these. There we go. It's taped. It's great radio, Jake. Fantastic radio. I didn't even know these had these. These are cool. They are little Jesus. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda. That is super cool. For communication wise, which I had no idea this was an actual thing. So I can put them in basically, I don't know if HoloNet is the word. Andy, help me out. It's not HoloNet. There's another word for it, and I'm totally blanking at the moment. I know you're going to correct me anyway, but we see their little communication figures for her to be able to talk to them. So there's Baby Yoda. Not Baby Yoda. There's Yoda. Little Obi-Wan. And then Anakin. And this looks like the Revenge of the Sith Anakin / Clone Wars, which is what the figure is. So crossing of the arms is a total Anakin move. So that's really, really cool. I didn't even know this came with that. We have a little bit of a grenade here, thermal detonator. That is just an extra piece for her hand. What is this? Oh, this is the part of the stand. Okay. We have her cloak, which is really cool. She gets a full-on hood. Super dope. Probably going to play with that a lot. And then the reason why I am here. Holograms. Duh. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Andy. Holograms. I don't know why I thought there was something a little bit more specific or crazy. Hologram. There we go. This is a great figure. And it's not because I'm a massive Ahsoka fan, but I think this figure is fantastic of the Clone Wars version of her. It doesn't look exact the animated version, but it's a really good interpretation of her. Let me see. Let me get this off real quick. Here we go. Boom. See, not exact to the animated version, but look at the detail in that suit from season 7 of the Clone Wars. Obviously, the Mandalorian interpretation of her outfit, as in she's missing an arm at the moment, or a couple hands actually. I got to place the hands on there before to put the lightsabers on there. The coloring is fantastic. The look of her head tails are fantastic. Everything about it is just great. It's great. You know, again, I might be biased because I'm an Ahsoka fanboy, but I think that she looks absolutely fantastic. Everything I expected her to look like. Let me go ahead and put these bad boys back on. Make sure she has some hands available for her sabers, which I think I might have to replace to fit the sabers. Yeah, it looks like it. Fire off some questions, guys. Fire off the questions if you have them. I guess at this moment I can kind of talk about what I want for the channel, or just for the show in general, I guess. So I talked about the reactions with Gabby. That's going to be a thing. We really, really like doing that. I don't think, unless something crazy happens, you know, life things, which very well could happen. We plan on doing them and having fun with them and reacting together and having a little fun. But the one thing that I want from this show specifically, I love talking with people about Star Wars. So if you guys didn't know, if I haven't talked about it on the show, which I think I have before, when I have a guest on, they pick, I ask them, I ask them if they can pick both the whiskey and the topic of the show. I think it's a unique idea instead of giving someone just like, hey, you want to come to the show? This is what we're talking about, etc. I like having the kind of freedom of someone possibly surprising me with a topic and definitely a whiskey that I've never tried before. It happened with Adam Collins, Mark Haas, obviously Sean, Dom, and anybody else I've had on the show. I've been surprised with a lot of the choices that they pick, things that I've never heard of and that I never would have tried without having them on. And so I love having that ability to let someone who's coming on the show offer me something that they really like and giving them the opportunity to tell someone else about a whiskey or drink in general that they really like. Instead of me just being like, hey, this is what I'm drinking. Go out and get a bottle. We'll talk about it, etc. It turns the tables on me and lets me find something that I've never tried before, never would have found, heard of, etc. Because everyone has different tastes, right? And that's kind of the point of the show is I want to really try different whiskeys and different things out there. And I know my palate is very different from an Adam Collins, Mark Haas, Sean Sullivan, etc. I want to be able to open my palate up to a lot of different things and allowing my guests to pick the drink, whether it be a whiskey or a different drink. You know, if someone's not a whiskey drinker that I want to have on, I'm open to trying something different. But I think it's a really cool concept of the show of having them pick. And that also goes with the topic. Because sometimes we all kind of in a way have one-track minds. You know, we think one specific way about maybe a Star Wars or something like that. But someone else can think completely differently. And again, you know, when I had Adam on, we talked about Cobra Kai and The Witcher. And then when I had Mark on, you know, we talked about Star Wars, and Sean, we've talked about a lot of different topics in Star Wars, and Dom, we come up with a lot of different topics in Star Wars, but it's from their mind and things that they want to talk about. And so it gives me a chance to look at topics and be like, I never would have thought about that. You know, that's something that maybe I would have thought about down the line, but not right now. And I think it's a great idea to do right now. So I think it'd be a lot of, I think it's a lot of fun giving them the option to do that. And I really appreciate the time and effort that some of these people put in as I knock over my water bottle. The time and effort that my guests put into finding these topics, you know, because I think it's a very cool concept. What's up, Shawnee? Hey, man. Thank you for joining me about 6 houses down. No, I'm just kidding. You're like, if I had to count, let me see. Let's put a random number on it, Sean. I'll say you're probably like 23 houses down. You're around the corner. Either way. You know what? Sean's going to come. Even though Sean's not a whiskey guy, I'm going to have Sean on the show one day. And it's going to be in person. Because Sean is around the corner. He's literally around the corner. And that'd be my first in-person guest. So, Brandy, I do love a ranking video where you rank all the whiskeys you've tried, or at least rank your top 5. Oh, that could be so difficult. That could be so difficult because I've tried so many. I could definitely go through the ones I've tried on the actual show, and I would not include the ones that I have in my arsenal now that I have not tried. I could count them up in the from the episodes and rank them. Maybe do a top 5 video and a top 10. 2 top 5 videos, but do a 10 through 6 and a 5 through 1 is possibly what I could think of. That could be cool. I like that idea, Brandy. I like that. It's probably time that I do that, to be honest. I should probably do that every couple months. 18-ish. I was close. I was there. 18 to 23. It's only 5 houses. I mean, a wild guess. That's pretty damn close, Sean. If you want to talk Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and drink run, then I'll be your guy. I mean, Andy, I'll be honest. I'm not a rum guy. But I might drink rum to talk Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if I'm being completely honest. Because you know that I'm your Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. guy. I am your Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. guy. I got you. Yes, Brandy, no, and Sean, no Crown Royal here, man. That is just, oof. I'll let you drink it, but I'll drink something else. I'll drink something completely different than Crown, and you can enjoy your Crown Royal. I don't know where you got that from, but yeah. So good luck trying to finish that bottle, my man. All right, let me try to put together this. I got to figure out how I want to do this. I'm going to just look at some examples of how they have the lightsabers. That's pretty cool. That one's pretty cool as well. So with Ahsoka's stance, you obviously have to have her a certain way. You have to have her a certain way. Let me text Gabby back real quick. Hold on. I just told her I'm live. She's in Cleveland. She flew out today. So she didn't. I don't know if she knew that I was live. All right. Let's see. Just for the purpose. So let's put this one in the front. She might pop in the chat here in a sec. Canada doesn't whiskey well. I've never been to Canada. I've always wanted to go. Never been. Oh, nope. It goes this way. Duh, Berlin. Duh. I got to put the fingers around. That's hard. Page turners, they were not. I believe this is Brennan. Hello, Brennan. I hope you're doing well, bud. He says, I'd like to hear about your top 5 films where you didn't like them when you first saw them, but you've grown to love them since. That's a great idea. I think that's a fabulous idea. Something that I could really dive into would be really fun. I'm definitely interested. I am definitely interested. That list could get pretty difficult to do, but I think I could do it. I definitely think I can do it. Oh, yeah, there we go. Got it. Got it. I just got to make sure her arms bend. I don't want to break her arms. Maybe this arm doesn't bend. Ah. Ooh, you need to assign a whiskey to major Star Wars character like what you think. Oh, Brandy, that's a brilliant idea. I think that's a great idea. And that could be endless, obviously. That could be an endless conversation to have about so many Star Wars characters. And I bet you someone named Sean Sullivan might want to join me on that adventure. You know him. You know Sean. That's obvious. All right. So I got the first part of Ahsoka down. I'm trying to get her stance down is what the goal is of this figure at the moment. And the saber doesn't want to save. But right now, here we go. There's stance 1. Look how long that saber is. That is massive. It is almost as long as my actual lightsaber. The thing is huge. Huge. All right. So there's number 1. Number 2. Don't want to lose any of these pieces. Only if you take a shot of each of the whiskeys you assign you. Oh my god. I mean, if you're asking for death, my guy, that could be a lot. That could be very difficult to do. I will say, does this bend? They do bend. I would have to figure out. If I'm doing 1 per episode, 5 per episode, because then it might be easier that way. And Andy, to answer your question, no. Look at the difference in these sabers. Look at how long one is compared to the other. And I get it, like her lightsabers are different, but I don't know if it's that big of a difference. Like that's huge. It's very big. Anyway. I mean, Brandy, that's not a terrible idea. A 20 episode series with 3 characters per episode. It's not a terrible idea. Because honestly, like, if I'm thinking about it, as I think something just fell off. There we go. If I'm thinking about it, there's probably only close to 20 characters that I would want to rank with whiskeys. Maybe 15? Like, I almost feel like a top 10 of your Star Wars characters ranking the whiskeys could be a good call, personally. Like, I think that could be a great idea. And I really like it. And I'm probably going to present it. Honestly, probably going to present it. Okay. All right. I think it looks a little better with the short one in front. And then I got to figure out how I am doing this one. If her fingers fit across this, which is very difficult, but I think I may just... I have no clue about characters, so my numbers could be way off. I mean, I could easily do 20. There's easily 20 characters I could probably do. I'm just trying to think of like keeping it, I guess relevant to like a top 10, etc. The characters that are kind of cared about the most, Okay. I gotta bend this. Nope. Gotta make sure the hand stays on. Okay, yeah, that difference is crazy. I was just going to suggest that typically the shorter one is in her left hand. Yeah, I figured it out once I put it on. I forgot originally. Now I got to figure out how I'm doing her arm on her backside, because this can get pretty tricky. I guess that kind of works. I just wish that I could bend her like her. She does that like almost superhero stance where she kind of bends over. I mean, that's close. That's close. Let me put it in its. Let me put her in her stand real quick. There we go. I don't want to grab the head tails. Okay, let me ask you guys this. Which characters would you guys like to see ranked with whiskeys? Give me some characters I can write down. They can be best characters. They can be super obscure characters. Characters that you think that I could rank with a whiskey. Let me know. I'm definitely going to write this down and present it to one Sean Sullivan. Because I think he's the guy to join me. As I finish my Ahsoka, I'm going to have to play with the stance a little bit. But I think this is a pretty good start. Let me know what you guys think. Oh, hold on. Just got to make sure she's centered and everything. Usually these platforms, IG-88 and Mandalorian, which you can see right there, they come with little foot holders. So this one doesn't have one, but here you go. Not too shabby. She's not bent over as much as I want her to, like classic Ahsoka, but she looks pretty damn good, if I'm being honest. She doesn't look bad. Let me know what you guys think. The sabers, I think I have to correct the sabers a little bit more. It's hard with her arms, and she's not bent over as much as I kind of want her to be. But I think it works. I think it works. And you guys let me know. I bent her over a little bit more. Not a lot, but a little bit. I want her like front feet or her feet to be different like they are in the stance. I'm so OCD about it. Like I tried to get Captain Marvel to look like she was floating in air. I think I failed miserably at it. Here we go. She's a little bit more bent over. And her arm, I got the saber to be a little bit more sideways. I got to bring this one closer to her chest. And if her arm can just do that, oh, that might look good. That might be good. All right, here we go. I think this is the final one. I got her to bend over a little bit more, wider stance. She doesn't look as active, as ready. Not bad. Not bad, guys. I kind of dig it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. It's pretty bad. What's up, Mick? Michael, how you doing, man? Appreciate it, my guy. Whiskey and Jake, you're right. I'm talking Yellowstone Bourbon today. But look, back to the show, and thank you for the topics. I wanted to quickly talk on it before I kind of wrap up and head out. Mick, you got a dirty mind, my guy. You got a dirty mind. That is not what I was saying. I mean, maybe it came off that way, but that is not what I was saying. I wanted her to be in her superhero stance, if you will. That's what they always call it, right? The superhero stance. I was aiming to make her a little bit more agile, war ready, if you will. So that was the point of that. What if you make the lightsaber behind her point the other way? So point the opposite way? Let me try. Let me see what I can do. Let me just flip. It might look better that way, Andy. Which is why you're here. Which is why you guys are all here. So while I'm doing this, back to the show. I want this specific show, the Whiskey Jedi. I love having guests. I love talking with I love talking with people. I enjoy having people on and kind of getting their perspective on Star Wars. But I also really want to talk by myself and talk about topics that I really want to talk about. You know, things that I enjoy talking about when it comes to Star Wars. Whether it be like I did when I first started, one of the episodes I did was called or I broke down "Do It or Not, There Is No Try." And I love that I spent an hour breaking that down and talking about it and kind of like discussing, you know, what it meant and what I thought it meant anyway. I want to get kind of back into that and taking things from Star Wars concepts and ideas and topics that are either relevant or not relevant and have a fun conversation about them. That was back in the day, obviously, when I did pre-recording stuff. I wasn't live all the time, and that's not something that I was doing at the time. But I know I love conversing with you guys, but I do want to get back into kind of talking. I don't know if this is going to work. Talking about concepts and ideas in Star Wars and breaking them down on an individual level. You know, I used to do it when I first started, and then I was like, I really like to talk to people about it. And I still want to do that, but I think you're going to find a lot more episodes where it's just me doing this, but breaking a concept down or building a figure that I get, which I don't have a lot more coming. I'll say that. I think I have one more coming. But I really want to get back into that idea of, you know, spending time breaking Star Wars down, which I think is originally kind of what I started this why I started this, you know, and it's nothing at all against what I've done over the last year or so with guests and everything. But like I said, I do sometimes miss the times where I'm able to kind of write notes and talk about something that is very obscure and different in Star Wars, you know? And I would love to take the time and do that. So I think you're going to see a lot more episodes where I'm pairing whiskeys and fully reviewing them and taking the time to review them while breaking a Star Wars concept down. Not that I'm not doing that now, but I'm having a little bit more of a relaxed, fun conversation, which I'm going to do on times. I'm 100% going to do. I'm going to do, you know, Q&As and especially if I do what I want to do and having it a bi-weekly show for the time being, maybe eventually working up to something that's weekly. But I think if I'm able to aim for a bi-weekly show and talk about concepts and ideas, have a guest on once a month, maybe once every 2 weeks, I think I could really enjoy that and have a good time with you guys as I talk my way through things, whether you agree or disagree. That's kind of the point, right? Is to have a great conversation, whether we agree or disagree. And that's kind of what I want from this. I don't care about having 1,000 viewers or, you know, getting paid for all this or whatever. Like, I just want an outlet to talk and hang out and converse with people that love to talk about the same things I do. And I get that on Apocalypse and POV, of course, but I also get to do it my way here without having to battle for times to talk with others and kind of run a show at the same time, right? I'm running Apocalypse and POV, and here I get to riffraff. I mean, you see it with Sean and I. When Sean and I are on together, him and I, we blend so well together, and our conversations are so fluid. We have so much fun. It's just an easy conversation. And I know that I can do that with myself as well with you guys. And so I think you're going to see a lot more of that from this. I'm going to take concepts, dialogue, characters, movies, whatever it may be in Star Wars, whether it's movies, television, books, comics, and I want to talk about them. I want to break it down with my opinions. Again, whether or not you agree or disagree. I think it can be really fun, really interesting, and it can create a good conversation, whether it's a 30-minute episode or an hour episode. So I think that's what you're going to see from this going forward. I plan on doing that. I plan on aiming and getting in every 2 weeks. That's what I really want from this show. Obviously, we're busy and things happen sometimes, and I will let everyone know that I'm not able to do an episode here. I might do a back-to-back because I know I'm gone this week, etc. But I think that's kind of what I want to do. Obviously, pairing the whiskey as well. Whiskey is the second half of this show. It's called the Whiskey Jedi for a reason. I aim to do that. I love talking whiskey. And I love that I have 7 viewers who are watching live right now, hanging out with me, whether or not you like whiskey. So I appreciate it. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. And I hope you guys would love to join me along the ride. On top of the reactions that Gabby and I are doing, I think the channel can be really cool with this and that. And yeah, so hopefully it intrigues you guys. Okay, so and let's get back to Ahsoka real quick because I'm having a hard time with this lightsaber. I think I'm going to have to move her arm forward and not behind like I originally had it. Also, her arms are very strange in this, if I'm being honest. And Andy, I think the reason why it looked strange, I was trying to put the sabers in the back, which I don't think is going to work the way the hands and arms are placed on this figure. I'm going to have to put them in the front. So, and there's nothing wrong with that because it's a classic Ahsoka stance. But I'm going to do this. Let me just move it. Yeah, the arms are definitely different from most of my other figures. It's not perfect. It is not perfect. I can tell you that much. I'm going to have to play with it. But I think this is what I'm going to have to do for the moment. She's not as low as she does look in the show, but she does this stance quite often. I know that there's usually one behind the back, which is usually this one. But the way that the arms work, the hands won't flip to do it. So this is what I'm going to have to roll with for just the moment. I mean, I think it looks great personally. I think she looks awesome. I think the figure is fantastic. I think that the sabers are definitely a little unproportional. You can see how long this one is compared to the rest. But she does this stance, and I think it looks great. And you can see the saber. I mean, if I'm showing it off, right, you kind of want to see the sabers anyway. And I think putting them like this kind of puts them out in the forefront. I mean, I think she looks awesome. Definitely Ahsoka-like. Yeah, like that. That looks way better. I think it looks great. Let me straighten it out right there. I think she looks fantastic. The outfit is great. The head tails are perfect. Sabers are a little unproportional, but you can't be perfect, right? The hands, you can kind of see this one's not really holding on great. But the bending of the arms and the hand is the best that I can do right now. So, but I think she looks awesome. So, boom. Ahsoka Tano, Clone Wars Season 7 figure officially in the book. Dunzo, guys. I have finally opened it. It was definitely my most hyped figure. I've been waiting for this bad boy for a very long time. And it's been sitting in my garage for months now. And I was finally able to get it done. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. And I'm going to keep playing with the arms and everything for sure. Because I want to make sure I get it right. I got to make her look like Ahsoka, you know? Turn her hands a little bit. Yeah. There we go. That works. All right, final look. There we go. Ahsoka Tano. Clone Wars Season 7. Boom. Going to go on the shelf. Got to find a nice pretty spot for her. She's honestly probably going to go right there next to Captain Marvel. I'm going to scoop Marvel that way into the middle and put Tano right there. It's probably what I'm aiming. As you can see, I got Cap, Mando, and my Comic J over here. So I think I got to balance it out and put Ahsoka right there. And I also have Ahsoka and Ahsoka there. So why not balance it out and put it there? So I think it works. You guys will end up seeing her in the background starting tomorrow. All right. Well, that wraps up this portion. Sean Room, what's up, my guy? Thank you for joining it, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. To everyone who's been watching, I really appreciate it. Let me do a quick little breakdown of Yellowstone Bourbon real quick. So again, I tried, drank, and am now going to review Yellowstone Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Long family history. They restarted back. Sean, I see you're tweeting me or something. It's 5 messages. What is going on? Hope no one's dying. They kickstarted this back up in 2010 after a long history of 1872 is when it first started. It is from Lebanon, Kentucky, and it is an original, trying to bring back the tastings of Yellowstone. As I mentioned up top when I first tried it, huge kick off the bat. Huge kick. Very rye flavor-esque, if you will. Ryes usually have a little more bite to them, and I think it definitely has that sensation. But as you kind of sit back and drink it a little bit, the aftertaste, the after effect, it definitely has a little bit more of a bourbon hit to it. I do like it. I like it. It has some spice. It's got some caramel flavors to it. Yes, caramel, not caramel. And a little bit of a smoky after finish, which is kind of what they said. I don't taste the cherries. And there was one more thing. I don't taste the brown sugar, which they mentioned on their website. But again, everyone tastes things differently. So Sean, for example, Sean Sullivan, who tried this, very well could have tasted the brown sugar and the cherries. So I'm interested in talking to him, seeing what he thinks of it. It's definitely not your average bourbon. I think it's very enjoyable. And Brandy mentioned that it's very good with cocktails. That will be my next test. I will definitely put it in a cocktail next, find out what it's all about, and go from there. So again, guys, look, Mick, he said, hey, listen, you and Whiskey Mate, as a Scottish fan, you could talk about anything and it'd be great. John Pierce, I'm here for the whiskey and to learn more about Star Wars. Don't know much. I appreciate it, man. I just appreciate that you guys are willing to hang out with me. There's not very many people that would, willing to hang out with a single guy on stream and just kind of randomly talking, talking his way through a stream. But I appreciate it. I love doing this. I really do enjoy this. And I plan on having some people join me soon. You'll obviously see Sean Sullivan's face quite often on this show, as him and I talk about this stuff way too often together. So why not do it on a show? But yeah, that's going to wrap up tonight. I plan on getting back probably. There might be a show next week. Heads up, because I'm gone the following week. I'll be in New Orleans for a wedding. I'll be there for a full week. And so I might try to get another episode out next week before I leave. And I promise reactions with Gabby are coming back. It's just all about timing. We've been very busy lately. We did a thing. We had a lot of fun. You guys can't see it, but this is actually a silicone Mandalorian ring. And maybe I'll post a picture to either our Discord or Twitter to show it off, because it's actually pretty cool. So, but yeah, to everyone who's joining me and hanging out, I appreciate it, guys. Really. Brandy, Mick, Sean, thank you so much, Mick. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. Brandy, I appreciate it. Thank you. Andy, of course, for always joining all the shows. Wingblade for popping in. Pierce, I appreciate it. Brennan popped in a little bit earlier. I don't know if you're still there. I see 9 people are watching. There's only about 4 or 5 of you in the chat. I hope you guys are all doing great. You're hanging in there. You're staying safe. But you're also living life. And, you can catch me everywhere. I'm all over the place. Here, Pockflix Movies, Certain Point of View. Everything is everywhere, guys. If you don't follow me already, then get to it. I'm not that exciting on social media, but I might be a good follow. I don't know. But again, you guys can just find me. I'm literally everywhere. Almost went viral on TikTok too, which is quite fun. Check that out. Might be starting some things up there. But yeah, to everyone, I appreciate it. Go check out Yellowstone. I think it can surprise you. I think it can surprise you as far as a whiskey goes. It might be something that you want to add to your arsenal. So again, thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow on Apocalypse Movies reviewing She-Hulk with Brian. And then hopefully I'll be in an episode out next week on the Whiskey Jedi. So for now, thank you again. And as always, may the Force be with you. Later, guys.